Yo, what's good? It's kanelogic. So let's talk about 007 First Light because the conversation around this game just shifted. We had months of, it's coming, trust us. Then we got a delay. Then we got a spec controversy. Then we got a story trailer. And right now, in February 2026, 3 months out from launch, the picture is starting to get clearer. Some of it looks great, some of it is still frustratingly vague. And there are a few things about this game that nobody is talking about loudly enough. So today, I'm going wall to wall on this. The full history, the story details, the gameplay direction, what the Glacier engine is actually doing now, the PC spec situation and why it got messy, what's confirmed on console, the additions breakdown, and then the honest take on how to approach May 27th. Let's get into it. Here's the thing about 007 First Light that doesn't get nearly enough attention. This game didn't just change studios, it changed ownership pipelines midway through development. IO Interactive announced Project 007, the original working title, in November 2020. Back then, the deal was with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and Eon Productions, the longtime Bond rights holders run by Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli. Then, in February 2025, everything shifted. Amazon MGM Studios acquired full creative and production rights to the James Bond IP from Eon Productions and Wilson and Broccoli, which means this is now the first Bond game to release since Eon stepped away from the franchise. Amazon MGM Studios is now the supervisory body on this project alongside IO Interactive. That matters because it tells you why the marketing tone is the way it is. Amazon is treating this as a major entertainment franchise, not just a game release. IO Interactive CEO Hakan Abrak has already gone on record with IGN saying he wants 007 First Light to be the start of a trilogy, a younger Bond that gaming audiences can call their own and grow with. So this isn't just a standalone game. If it performs well, the plan is for this to become a full-running series of Bond games. That's ambitious, and it adds weight to why they delayed it. They can't afford to fumble the launch of what they're hoping is a franchise. This is current. This just dropped. On February 12, 2026, IO Interactive and Amazon MGM Studios dropped a new story trailer for 007 First Light during Sony's PlayStation State of Play broadcast. And this one landed differently than previous trailers. Where the earlier gameplay showcase from September 2025 was more about systems and action, this one was about tone and character. It leans into the internal conflict of the story. Young Bond, unproven, reckless, being pushed into situations that test his judgment, not just his aim. You see the friction between him and his instructor. You see M recognizing something in him that others don't. You see the weight of having to prove himself inside an organization that's watching his every move. The trailer isn't watch Bond do cool stuff, it's watch Bond figure out who he's supposed to be. That's a different energy, and it's the right energy for an origin story. Whether the game actually delivers that depth across 15+ hours of gameplay is still the question, but the intention is clearly there. May 27, 2026, that's the date, that's locked. Originally, it was March 27, 2026, before IO pushed it back 2 months in December 2025. Here's the exact language from their statement. 007 First Light is our most ambitious project to date, and the team has been fully focused on delivering an unforgettable James Bond experience, bringing together breathtaking action, globe-trotting, spycraft, gadgets, car chases, and more. As an independent developer and publisher, this decision allows us to ensure the experience meets the level of quality you players deserve on day one. Key phrase, as an independent developer and publisher.
IO isn't beholden to a publisher telling them to ship on a certain date. They made the call themselves. That's actually a good sign. It means the delay came from creative standards, not external pressure. But yes, it's still a delay, and it signals the game needed more time than they expected. Confirmed platforms: PS5 and PS5 Pro, Xbox Series X and Series S, Xbox ROG Ally and ROG Ally X, PC, Steam and Epic Games Store, and Nintendo Switch 2. One note on Switch 2. Pre-orders are limited to physical editions only. The 24-hour digital early access that other platforms offer, not available on Switch 2. Worth knowing if you're a Nintendo player planning to day one this. Here's what I/O has officially put on record. Nothing inferred, nothing guessed. The setup. You play as a 26-year-old James Bond, performed by Patrick Gibson. You might know him from Dexter: Original Sin or The OA. Bond is a Royal Navy air crewman, not a soldier, not a spy. He gets noticed by MI6 after exploits in Iceland, and from there gets recruited into a newly revived 00 program. The premise I/O is working with draws from both the Ian Fleming novels and the film franchise, but it's a completely original story. No film adaptation, no existing continuity, they're Bond. And to make the point clear, this is the first Bond game since Agent Under Fire in 2001, where the likeness of Bond himself is not derived from any actor who played him on film. Patrick Gibson's version is built from the ground up. The core conflict. The story's central threat involves 009, a former British operative who's gone rogue. The newly revived 00 program considers 009 their first real test, and Bond is going to be the one to deal with it. So you're not fighting some external supervillain from the start. You're being thrown at someone who knows the same system you're just learning. Key characters, full confirmed cast. M. Priyanka Burford becomes Bond's advocate within MI6. Q. Alastair Mackenzie, reimagined early career version of the Gadget Master. Miss Moneypenny, Kira Lester, also reimagined in her earlier years. John Greenway, Lenny James, confirmed as a former 00 agent, now working as the program's training instructor. He's described as by the book and disciplined, which puts him directly at odds with Bond's impulsive nature. Charlotte Roth, Nomi Nakai, a French DGSE agent. Dr. Selena Chan, Gemma Chan, an original character created by I/O, announced at Tokyo Game Show in September 2025, full role not yet disclosed. Bauma, Lenny Kravitz, the main antagonist, announced at the Game Awards in December 2025. Yes, the actual Lenny Kravitz, motion captured, voiced, the whole thing. Locations confirmed. Iceland, the Carpathian Mountains, and the black market called Aleph have all been referenced officially. Additional locations haven't been confirmed, but based on everything I/O has said about globe-trotting, there are almost certainly more. The gadgets. I/O confirmed 2 brand integrations that function as actual Q gadgets in-game. A custom Omega Seamaster chronograph watch designed specifically for the game, and the Aston Martin Valhalla, a real-world hybrid supercar limited to 999 units, modified for the game with Q-Tech enhancements. Both have been heavily associated with the Bond film franchise, and I/O is clearly leaning into that legacy. The music. The score is being composed by The Flight, a duo known for blending cinematic orchestral music with electronic production. I/O's audio director, Dominic Vega, said the choice was intentional for a younger Bond. Classic John Barry themes do feature, but Bond has to earn his themes as he develops throughout the story. That's a genuinely interesting creative decision. Here's where it gets real, because I/O has been more specific about gameplay philosophy than most people realize. The Creative Approach System. I/O officially calls it the Creative Approach, and it breaks down into 3 paths: spycraft, stealth and observation as primary tools, eavesdropping on conversations, pickpocketing key items, inspecting environments for hidden clues, gathering intel to open new routes and options. Direct action, shooting, fighting, brute forcing your way through.
Improvisation, mixing both with Bond's personality, charm, bluffing, reading the room. The instinct mechanic is a signature feature. Think of it as Bond's situational awareness in gameplay form. You can use instinct to lure enemies into vulnerable positions, bluff your way out when you've been spotted,
or sharpen focus for more precise combat. It's a resource, not just a visual effect. The forward momentum question. IO's gameplay director, Andreas Crow, addressed this directly in an interview. In Bond, we are striving to do forward momentum gameplay all the time, both in combat and in stealth. In Hitman, we had some setups where we wanted you to use some time to stake out the situation. In Bond, you can use time to observe a situation, but it's very evident there are options you can use right away. So what does that actually mean? It means the pacing is faster, less patient observation, more active decision-making. Bond doesn't sit in a ventilation shaft for 15 minutes. He scans, he decides, he moves. That sounds great on paper, but it also means pure Hitman-style sandbox puzzle stealth isn't what this is, which will disappoint some people if they walk in expecting that. Mission structure. IO's own language on the PlayStation blog was, "The game combines focused, narrative-driven segments of gameplay with more open areas that offer players greater freedom in how they approach objectives." Hybrid structure. Some linear cinematic sequences, some more open areas. We don't know the ratio yet. That's still the biggest unknown heading into launch. The Glacier engine has powered every Hitman game IO has made. For 007 First Light, they've made specific upgrades that are worth knowing about. New proprietary volumetric smoke system. IO's words were that this is something that has not been done anywhere before. Bold claim. We'll see if it shows in gameplay. Ray tracing and fully dynamic global illumination. Both confirmed. The lighting model is being rebuilt around dynamic, real-time calculations rather than baked lighting. New animation and AI systems. More expressive character performances, according to IO, alongside richer environmental detail and smoother transitions between stealth, exploration, and action. This isn't just Hitman 4 on a visual upgrade. The engine has been meaningfully changed, which is also part of why optimization is still ongoing. You don't retrofit a new smoke system and dynamic lighting into an engine and call it done in a week. Let's talk about what actually happened here, because the timeline matters. January 6, 2026, IO releases PC specs alongside the NVIDIA collaboration announcement. Those original specs say minimum 1080p 30 FPS, i5 9500K or Ryzen 5 3500, GTX 1660 or RX 5700, 16 GB RAM, 8 GB VRAM, 80 GB storage. Recommended 1080p 60 FPS, i5 13500 or Ryzen 5 7600, RTX 3060 Ti or RX 6700 XT, 32 GB RAM, 12 GB VRAM, 80 GB storage. The community immediately spotted the problem. The RTX 3060 Ti ships with 8 GB of VRAM. The minimum listed was also contradicted by the GTX 1660, which ships with 6 GB, not 8 GB. So the specs contradicted the actual hardware they were recommending, twice. January 15, 2026, IO acknowledged the issue publicly. Their statement was, after a thorough re-examination and additional testing, the recommended RAM has been corrected from 32 GB to 16 GB. VRAM values have been updated to match the actual hardware listed. The bigger question that's still open is, why did this happen at all? Were they testing on internal hardware configs that don't match retail cards? Did someone publish a draft spec sheet before it was finalized? IO called it an internal miscommunication, but for a studio that prides itself on technical precision, publishing verifiably incorrect hardware specs in a press release is a notable stumble. What we still don't have: no 1440p specs, no 4K specs. IO said additional performance targets will be shared closer to launch. That's 3 months away and we still don't have them. For PC players planning on high-resolution setups, you're still guessing right now. NVIDIA partnership and DLSS 4. I/O CTO Ulas Karademir said, "Performance, responsiveness, and visual fidelity, it all needs to feel effortless for the player, and NVIDIA GeForce RTX technologies, including DLSS 4, enables us to deliver exactly that."
DLSS 4 with multi-frame generation is confirmed. It can significantly boost frame rates on RTX cards, which will help on the PC side, especially since the base specs suggest this game isn't light on resource usage. PS5 Pro. This is the one platform where we actually have a confirmed spec target. The official PlayStation page confirms PS5 Pro runs 007 First Light at 60 FPS in quality mode using PlayStation's Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR, Sony's proprietary upscaling tech for the Pro hardware. 60 FPS quality mode on Pro. That's confirmed. PS5 and Xbox Series X, nothing officially confirmed. No frame rate target, no resolution target, no word on whether there will be a performance versus quality mode split. This close to a May launch, that silence is a yellow flag. Not necessarily a problem, but it needs to be addressed soon. Xbox Series S, same situation. No confirmed targets. Series S is always the platform that takes the hardest compromises on ambitious titles, and with this game running a heavily upgraded Glacier engine, Series S will need to make trade-offs somewhere. Switch 2. I/O has confirmed the game is coming to Switch 2, but zero technical details on what the experience will look like. No frame rate target, no resolution, nothing. Editions and pricing. Standard Edition, $69.99, £59.99. Includes base game. All pre-orders across all platforms except Switch 2 Digital get a free automatic upgrade to the Deluxe Edition. Deluxe Edition, $79.99, £69.99. Includes 24-hour early access, 4 item skins, gleaming lighter, earphones, phone, and pen, and exclusive weapon skin, and 4 outfits: Day of the Dead, Desert Explorer, Silent Anchor, and Gentleman Operator. Specialist Edition exclusive to Amazon.com. Physical edition with unique packaging and the classic tux outfit, the closest thing to traditional Bond look you'll get at launch. Legacy Edition, $299.99, £260. Here's what's actually in the box for the Legacy Edition. Physical game, steelbook with magnet closure, metal case, embossed detailing, premium finish. Deluxe Edition DLC pack, 4 outfits: Day of the Dead, Desert Explorer, Silent Anchor, Gentleman Operator, 1 weapon skin, gold gadget skin pack. Golden Gun collectible, physical replica with stand and secret compartment. Certificate of authenticity, numbered, limited run confirmation. Exclusive in-game skins, Golden Gun weapon skin plus Obsidian Gold suit, Legacy Edition only, not available elsewhere. IOI account bonus. If you create a free IOI account and link it, you get the Gilded Wraith weapon skin and the on-duty outfit at launch, free. Just sign up. One note again, Switch 2 Digital Early Access is not available. Physical pre-orders still get the Deluxe Edition upgrade, but the 24-hour early access perk is digital only and doesn't carry over to Nintendo's platform. Let's cut through the trailer energy and talk about what actually needs to be answered. Concern 1. The spec controversy raised a process question. When you publish recommended PC specs that contradict your own recommended GPU's VRAM capacity, it raises a fair question. How thorough was QA testing across a range of hardware configs? It may have been a document error, but it's the kind of error that creates doubt about optimization confidence heading into launch. Concern 2. Forward momentum is a tonal commitment that changes the audience. I/O is actively saying this is less Hitman and more action-adventure with stealth options. That's a legitimate design direction, but a meaningful portion of the people hyped for this game are Hitman fans who want deep sandbox stealth. Those two groups might end up disappointed if they go in with the wrong mental model. Concern 3.
console performance targets are still absent. PS5 Pro confirmed at 60 FPS quality mode. Everything else, base PS5, Series X, Series S, Switch 2, still has no official word. 3 months out. That needs to change soon, or people are going to make buying decisions in the dark.
Concern 4. The mission structure question hasn't been answered publicly. I/O says focused narrative segments combined with open areas, but we don't know the ratio. We don't know how missions replayability actually works. We don't know what happens after you complete an objective. Can you go back in, rethink your approach, play it differently? Until we get extended, unedited gameplay, we're still estimating. Concern 5. This is I/O's biggest project ever, and they know it. That's not a weakness, but it means the pressure is real. The delay happened, the spec error happened. I/O is navigating a brand new IP pipeline under Amazon MGM, while also trying to deliver the most technically ambitious game they've ever made. That's a lot of variables, not a reason to panic, but a reason to wait for reviews. Here's where I land on this. 007 First Light is shaping up to be genuinely interesting, not just a licensed game that's probably fine. The creative decisions are real, the cast is stacked, the engine upgrades are legitimate, and the origin story angle, combined with the trilogy ambition I/O's CEO has stated publicly, suggests this isn't just a one-and-done attempt. But I'm keeping a few things in check. Don't go in expecting Hitman with a Bond skin. I/O has been clear, this is its own thing with forward momentum at the center. If that's not what you wanted, that gap will be visible. Don't assume performance is locked on console until I/O shows the breakdown. PS5 Pro at 60 FPS quality mode is confirmed. Everything else is still pending. Don't pre-order based on trailers alone. Wait for the extended gameplay deep dive that should be coming before launch, and wait for reviews. I/O has earned credibility with Hitman, but this is new territory for them. And keep the spec situation in your back pocket as context. It's been corrected, but it happened, and it's worth watching to see how the actual PC optimization holds up when benchmarks land. The game could be excellent. I genuinely think it might be, but excellence has to be proven in the final product, not in trailers. That's the full breakdown on 007 First Light as of right now. Drop a comment with your platform, PS5, PS5 Pro, Series X, Series S, PC, or Switch 2, and tell me what you need to see from the next gameplay drop to actually feel confident about this game. It's kanelogic. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.